who are living through it now. For the last 100 years, none of our generations or the ones before us saw a rapid change and a complete standstill kind of environment for the economy. And post that, really trying to come to terms with how we unlock, how we get back to being where we were normally. So in that, I think each one of us are proving much beyond what we expected of our own selves. Today, industry has really gone through the phase of completely shutting down every activity. But even as we have understood that the shutting down happened, when that is to open up, and now, of course, opened up almost near 100%, have opened up after doing a lot of introspection. And I can say with confidence, due to the interactions that I've had with many Indian industry, that most of them are looking at resetting the way in which they have been doing business all these years. So now, not just the MNCs, not just the Indian INC, the Indian Inc., but also the entire economy, big, small, medium, are all clearly facing a reset exercise. And that reset is only being strengthened by the government's Atmanirbhar Bharat. Atmanirbhar Bharat, again, is not something to close India down to be, so self-sufficient only from its own and its own materials and its own skills, but clearly saying it's time for us to look at this. Kept with it, but not actually used optimally. So Atmanirbhar, the call for Atmanirbhar is more to say, utilize our strength optimally, make sure our skills are able to calibrate and be of use, and make sure that India stands up on its strengths rather than be intimidated by the challenges. So Prime Minister Modi has not wasted this challenging time to convert it to an opportunity to say, let us see what we can best do with our strengths, not to stop the imports, not to keep India away from international trade, not to reject India's role in global trading community, not to reject India's role in the Indian manufacturing story, which actually should be, like the way you have said very clearly, that India should become a major investment hotspot. And for that, we have to make sure that we get everything right. And I'm glad that you've heard the Secretary, Department of Policy and Internal Trade telling you an effective, unified single window will be made available so that access to regulators, policymakers, and facilitators are all available at one point from wherever you are, be able to access him digitally and so on. So even as this reset is happening in the economy, we are making sure that the pandemic does not affect viable units, does not affect those who have other. And with the Reserve Bank of India to facilitate where liquidity is needed to be given the liquidity, where regulatory forbearance is required, forbearance is extended, just to make sure that those units which just need that little hand-holding will get it, so that once the lockdown is completely away, even now it's away, but even with the little containment zones here and there, once the coronavirus affected units are going to come out, they will come out in their full strength. So we have been engaging with all sectors to make sure that we talk to them and extend the facilities that they so need. But from an MNC perspective, if we were to look at Indian economy and where the emphasis is going to be in the coming budget, in the coming days and in the policy making, I would start with the fact that the Prime Minister himself has been engaging with the global investor community and talking to them about what exactly he looks at for India. How does he view India in this changing environment? To talk to them all who came from different continents, although virtually, of course, who came from different continents and spoke to the Prime Minister about what is it that they are seeing in India, what is it that they're expecting of India. And after the engagement too, he has been meeting with them one-on-one, virtually again, but one-on-one, talking to them about their concerns and how best they would expect India to do things in the policy space. As it is, you are aware that since 2019, after this government came again, post the 2019 elections, we have been taking absolutely strong reform-related measures. The reduction in corporate tax in September 2019 to be the lowest in the, as much as possible, compare it with very many developed economies or emerging economies. 15% and with nothing else added to it. Taxation, corporate rate being 15%, the lowest I would think anywhere in the world. And also for the existing companies, saying that they can come down to the level of 22%. And if production for the new units commence post October 2019 till March 2023, clearly showing that our intent is to show immediate benefit for the MNCs and any large companies or small companies which would want to open shop and start producing. Opening up newer areas, space being one of them. I'm not sure anywhere else in an emerging economy. Of course, some of the advanced economies depend on private parties for operating their space activities. But in India-like economy, where India's space achievements are no mean achievements, for them to have also announced saying we welcome private partners to be in the area of space and to be able to use all the resources which the Indian Space Research Organization has, is a major step forward and a progressive one at that, a liberal one at that. And I would think the MNCs would definitely be interested in seeing what opportunities lie there. Even as I said about corporate tax, I think it's worth recalling that in this budget, February 2020 budget, which effectively was only 2 or 3 weeks before Corona pandemic's full force by all of us. In that, we announced that funds throughout town to see how we can facilitate them in getting the bits of the concession are given with the blind announced in the pipe that we announced. Sovereigns want to now tie up the project we announced pipeline, and they, I understand, the last 1 month we had at least 2 new sovereign funds coming in and saying can also benefit from the tax concessions given. Going back to the areas where government has opened up, I was speaking about the space. All the nuclear energy area is also now opened up. And here I would think there are opportunities. But why would I want to talk about the nuclear energy? Renewable energy space? India has made leaps and bounds progress. And even a couple of days ago when the Prime Minister was talking in the G20 summit, the data on how India has complied with its commitments given in Paris COP21 in meeting all the requirements have been proven. Our 2035 commitments, which had to be milestone from the time the COP21 happened, 2020 already exceeded the commitments which we expect of us. So government is very serious about its climate-related commitments. And even being serious on the point of carbon emission, we have simultaneously made sure that renewable energy gets maximum investment. We have done all kinds of efforts to engage with producers of solar and wind energy. As well as we are able to meet targets which we set for ourselves in a global platform like COP21. Defense production, of course, is an area on which I spoke a minute ago. We have opened up knowledge for the small and medium units which produce in India, where the Indian armed forces are captive buyer. We have listed out those those items that are manufactured by the MMEs and said those will definitely be listed out in the list. But that does not exclude, of course, manufacturing of big ticket items defense for Indian manufacturers are welcome to join hands with foreign MNCs, or foreign MNCs can come and set up business here, and meeting the standards of the Indian armed forces can certainly supply to them and also export from here. Now, you already are aware that we had much before, around the budget time, February 2020, had given concessions or production-linked based incentives for the manufacturing of medical equipment, for pharmaceuticals. I heard SEZs and coastal zones to be created as a request and suggestion for the manufacturing of pharmaceuticals and for the manufacturing of medical equipments. In 6 states, dedicated areas have been designed. There are special economic zones for manufacturing of medical equipments and for production of APIs. India, once upon a time, was a lead manufacturer of active pharmaceutical ingredients. We lost that advantage, but today we have given the facility of specialized manufacturing zones for the production of key ingredients, as they call, starting KSIs, key starting ingredients, and also active pharmaceutical ingredients, APIs. So for the pharma sector and for the medical equipment manufacturing, 6 will be provided straight away without much questions being asked. The effective unified single window actually already, in a way, exists for these pharma specialized zones for the medical equipments as well. I would think similar kind of approach is being taken for agri-processed products also by many states, because India is now rich and clearly becoming the agri-basket for the whole world. The raw materials are available. Indian farmers are doing a splendid job, much against all odds, in producing the necessary quantities of horticulture products and also vegetables, fruits and grains. Also the healthy coarse grains are also being grown. And therefore the processes which are required for preserving, storing, and also giving them a longer shelf life and giving value addition is also getting a lot of traction among particularly the startups who are looking at innovative ways of serving this area of activity. More importantly, in using digital technology, artificial intelligence, and also making sure fintech gains a lot. India has got branded products now in terms of financial payments through digital mode. So you have the UPI, Unified Payment Portal initiative of India interface, UPI, Unified Payment Interface. For technology developers, this is an area in which periodically upgrade the technology to be brought in further with greater nuance and calibration is a growing area in which a lot of tech-based companies are also doing much better. One area in which I'll go back to talking about taxation, as I'm talking about fintech, as I'm talking about artificial intelligence, as I'm talking about technology-driven systems. Prime Minister normally speaks, when I say Atmanirbhar, I'm not excluding India from the globe. We have to improve systems. And here am I giving an example for what is improving systems or strengthening systems or becoming self-reliant in systems is. Fintech has grown so much purely because we use data to benefit technology and technology in turn to benefit banking systems. Taxation authorities also today have
my side is to give you.
Can I continue?
Please, madam, please, madam, sorry for there was some disruption, it seems. Sorry, madam,
Okay.
please.
All right. Can I continue?
Yes, please, madam. Yes, please. Yes, please, madam.
So taxation also today has benefited from technology. And that is why we took a very bold step after doing a pilot program of bringing in faceless assessment of tax. It was for the direct taxation first. Gradually, we shall also move towards using faceless technology for indirect taxation as well. Faceless technology, faceless assessment has definitely removed the element of discretion, the fear that there's a lot of uncertainty and personal element of interaction comes into assessments have all now been removed. Faceless assessment will clearly leave you at a stage where you'll just have to file your returns, and if there are queries, it'll come through email and you're going to be answering through email. There shall not be unwanted visitations at home. Unwanted visitors will be completely avoided. Now, faceless is also in appeals. So even if your assessment is not acceptable to the tax authorities, appeals are also going to happen through technology. And therefore, when I say India has had a brand in terms of creation of brand in terms of payment facilitations, I would be happy to say even in reducing the taxation related compliance issues, we have used technologies and made sure that faceless assessment, faceless appeal will be the only way in which tax assessees will be engaging with the authorities. So there shall not be an element of discretion. Everything would go as per formula, and the ease of compliance is kept in our mind. The momentum of reform continues even during the pandemic. We shall keep doing that. Earlier in the first tenure of Prime Minister Modi, you saw major steps being taken in terms of direct benefit transfer using technology. You saw GST being brought in. You also saw the IBC, which is of great help for the companies, and therefore gracefully you come in and do successful business. In case you want to wind up, there is also a very graceful way of getting out, and that is your IBC. We are strengthening the NCLT and the NCLAT, through which the company law related tribunal will function far more efficiently. Commercial courts are being set up. And therefore, I would want to tell you, even at the time of the COVID, the pandemic, Prime Minister has not lost an opportunity to take deep reforms, to undertake those kind of reforms which have not found the light of the day over the decades. The momentum for reform shall continue. Several more active reform-related steps are being taken up. Financial sector is being professionalized. Disinvestment agenda continues. We shall go with greater momentum in getting privatization, that which has been cleared by the cabinet, to go forward. So with these words, I think as an opening statement towards addressing the CII's national MNCs in your conference in the year 2020, even though it's virtual, I think we are able to convey to each other your expectation and my kind of a performance related, say, a report, and post which, of course, our engagement shall continue. We are getting closer to the budget of 21-22. I invite all of you to share your thoughts individually or through the CII, how you expect to see the Indian economy to grow. What are your suggestions to make it a lot more vibrant? I would be all ears to hear from you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
नेशनल एमएनसी कॉन्फ्रेंस 2020 को वित्त मंत्री वर्चुअली संबोधित कर रही थी और इस मौके पर उन्होंने सीआईआई के प्रयासों की सराहना की। उन्होंने कहा कि पॉलिसी निर्धारण में सीआईआई ने अहम भूमिका निभाई है। साथ ही कोविड चुनौती के दौरान बिजनेस के तरीके बदले हैं। आत्मनिर्भर भारत का अर्थ है कि अपने संसाधनों का बेहतर तरीके से इस्तेमाल करें। उन्होंने ये भी कहा कि अंतर्राष्ट्रीय व्यापार में निर्यात में भारत को पिछड़ना नहीं है। भारत निवेश का बड़ा बाजार बन सकता है और कोविड की चुनौती के बीच भी अर्थव्यवस्था को पटरी पर लाने के लिए ठोस कदम उठाए जा रहे हैं। साथ ही एमएनसी के लिए एक सहज व्यापार का माहौल बनाने के लिए भी सरकार, ताकि भारत में उनके लिए बिजनेस करना आसान हो सके। स्पेस और न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी के क्षेत्रों में ढेरों अवसर है जिन पर काम किया जा सकता है और कार्बन उत्सर्जन को कम करने को लेकर भी सरकार प्रतिबद्ध है। तो ये सारी बातें निर्मला सीतारमण जी ने नेशनल एमएनसी कॉन्फ्रेंस 2020 में कही हैं। इस बुलेटिन में इतना ही, लेकिन डीडी न्यूज पर खबरों का सिलसिला जारी है। नमस्कार।
मन की बात। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी भारत की जनता से साझा करेंगे अपने मन की बात 29 नवंबर सुबह 11 बजे। आप भी माननीय प्रधानमंत्री के मन की बात का हिस्सा बन सकते हैं। इसके लिए आप अपने सुझाव 26 नवंबर तक टोल फ्री नंबर 1800-117800 पर रिकॉर्ड कर सकते हैं या माईगॉव के ओपन फोरम में 28 नवंबर तक पोस्ट सकते हैं। तो याद रखें, रविवार 29 नवंबर सुबह 11 बजे मन की बात।